Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavarogina Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Dakshinamurtaye Namah. Hari Om. Nahi Gnanena Sadrusham Pavitram Miha Vidyate Tatsvayam Yoga Samsiddha Kalenatmani Vindati. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmena Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Hari Om. Life is very simple. Truth is very simple. God is the simplest because there is nothing outside God. But why do we feel life is so complicated? If truth is so simple, why are there not many more realized beings around? Why are there so few enlightened people? That's because we see life through the prism of mind. Mind is a complicated mess. Mind is what makes simple complex. Mind is the prism that breaks the simple white light into 7 different colors. And once the diversity comes, then the mind wants to pick one, not pick another one, like one, dislike something else, crave for one, have aversion for another thing. And thus the life becomes complex. When you look at life through the prism of mind, then life is complicated. Enlightenment is stepping out of the mind. When you are able to keep the mind aside and just experience life as it is, without judgment. When you're able to embrace the totality of existence. Mind analyzes, mind divides, mind takes sides. And that's what science is all about. Science is dominated by mind. But spirit synthesizes, spirit integrates, spirit brings everything together. And in the eyes of the spirit, everything is one. Everything is in harmony. Everything is perfect. Imperfection is when you view the world through the mind. And when the mind sees imperfection, it wants to make it perfect. And the effort of trying to make that is already perfect, thinking as if it is imperfect, is the root cause of impressions. Do you see what I'm saying? So the first reason why there are not that many enlightened beings, even though life and existence and truth is so simple, is because we have not learned the skill of seeing life, keeping the mind aside. The second thing is because we've got a weak dhruti. Our intent is not there at all to step out of the mind. The mind paints a beautiful picture of the world, of pleasure and joy, and we are stuck in it. We just don't want to come out of it. Liberation is the ability to let go of the world, is the ability to let go of the pleasures, But we feel very weak in our knees. We feel unable to let go of the world. Look at all your desires. What are they? They are all about something material, isn't it? And when you are attached to so many things in the material world, there is always a fear of losing them. This fear makes you even weaker. So, whenever there is a choice, you always pick up convenience over commitment. You are afraid you will lose your comfort zone. You are afraid you are going to lose that identifies you. Fear of losing your convenience, fear of losing your comforts, fear of losing your identity will make you not have a strong will, a strong intent in the path. So you just don't make progress that very quickly. And you make progress, and suddenly you are filled with doubts. You see people around, and then you think, am I missing out on something? Your engagement with yourself makes the world feel a bit tasteless. But there are times when your awareness slips, and then you think, I'm neither here nor there. Am I really progressing in the path, or am I missing the world too? So then you try to balance and slowly start moving again towards the world. You're sitting in your house, and out of the window, you can see the beautiful nature, wonderful sky, trees, plants, birds. But then you say, oh, it's probably very cold outside there. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's raining. I can see everything from here only. That's enough. So you don't have that courage to step out into the open and try it firsthand. You're more stuck in the comfort of your home, comfort of your house. So you don't want to step out into the garden, step out into the nature. And that is why, again, why you don't make that much progress. When you don't take risk, there is no reward. And what is the reward? The reward is freedom. Is freedom from obligations. Is freedom from all the bondages, freedom from all the things that keep you anchored to the world. And that freedom changes your world completely, changes your way you look at life completely. You know, when you take a photograph, when you focus on something close, all that is far away becomes blurred. And when you focus on something far, that which is close becomes blurred. Yeah? It's like that. When you focus on the world, the self becomes a little blurred. When you focus on the self, the world becomes a little blurred. A worldly person is one whose focus is on the world, so his focus on the self has become blurred. An enlightened is one whose focus constantly is on the self, so the world is a bit blurred. This ability to blur out the world and be focused on the self is the purpose of sadhana. And somebody who can do this, such a person of established awareness, is called Sthitha Pragya. No, mind and awareness are poles apart. When the mind is dominating your life, awareness is in the background. When awareness dominates, the mind goes to the background. Are you all here? Yes? Yes? Keep a smile on your face. Half a smile. Are you aware you are smiling? Yes? Where is your mind now? Don't let go of your smile. Keep that half a smile. Keep your eyes open. Do you see, as the awareness in you rises, the mind activity comes down. The mind becomes blank. When the mind is full of thoughts, know that your awareness has come down. You have a very low level of awareness. That's why mindfulness is so effective in the initial stages of progress on the path, that brings you back again and again to your own self. Yeah. So being established in the self, being very mindful and having an established awareness is Sthitha Pragya. There is no equivalent word in English for Sthitha Pragya, but this is the closest we can say. A person with established awareness. And how do you establish the awareness? The technology is yoga. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मते सङ्गोऽस्त्व अकर्मणि. So today the shlokas we are going to look into, you are all very familiar, very famous, very popular, fantastic shlokas. We all heard it, but it's time to realize the depth of their meaning. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Your accountability, your responsibility is only towards your action, towards your karma, but not the consequences or the result of that action. The result is with something else. The body and mind are responsible for action. The result is the responsibility of the spirit. It's in the hands of the spirit. So what is not in your hands, don't worry too much about it. What is in your realm, give your 100%. Keep your intentions correct. Put your 100% effort in your actions. But that's where you have to stop, because what happens after that is not in your domain. Gurudev said beautifully recently, you focus on your present and plan for the future, whereas existence looks at your future and plans the present. So there may be a discordance, there may be disagreement, but existence of the spirit looks at the bigger picture and what is best for you and then makes that happen to you. Have you not seen in life that you want something really bad, you really work at, still it does not happen to you, and then you are disappointed, and then many times you don't put much effort at all, things come to you. Yeah. So you know that the result of the action or the outcome of action or the experiences that you have in life are not directly proportional to the effort and your intention and your desire. There is a different mathematics working there. But what you need to do is stop focusing on the result and just focus on giving your 100% to the action. Just lift yourself from a karmic action to an yajna. Yogastah kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyak samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Before we come in, the last two lines of the previous shloka. Ma karma phala heturbuhu mate sangostva karmani. So you are not responsible for the results, but you don't disengage from actions also. Mate sangostva karmani. Don't drop actions. Oh, the results are not in my hands, so I'll drop actions. So no, don't have that attitude. He says, you engage in the world, give your 100% for the actions, but don't focus on the result. Leave it to the self, leave it to the divine to look after it. But don't withdraw from actions too. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Sangam tyaktva. Dropping your focus on the result, dropping expectation of a particular type of result which you want to produce. Kuru karmani. Do actions. And such type of actions where you are able to give 100% to your action, irrespective of what will come to you, what you'll get back in return, that is yoga. Siddha siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. This type of action, where whether you will succeed or fail, whether you will get a pleasant result or an unpleasant result, or the outcome is going to be pleasurable or unpleasant, that type of action where there is equanimity is yoga. An action where there is no feverishness of the outcome, an action where there is no internal conflict or stress, an action in which you can give 100%, irrespective of what comes out of it. That is yoga, and that's how you need to engage in the world. दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगा धनंजय दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगा धनंजय बुद्धौ शरणम् अन्विच्छ कृपणः फलहेतवः दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म. Stay away from karmic actions, actions that generate impressions. From a distance, durena hevaram, just stay away from them. Those actions will generate more impressions. Buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Act with a mature intellect. Buddhi yoga is path of knowledge. Being focused on the self as a witness, engage in action. Buddhyo sharanam anvicha kripana phalayatava. Those who ignore the knowledge, those who ignore the spirit and engage in action, wanting to produce results, they will get results, but what they get is very small. Kripanaha means miserly. What they achieve in life is very small. So aim for the highest. Stay in the realm of knowledge and act. Leaving knowledge behind, those who work for small results, petty gains in the material world, are very miserly, are fools. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrita dushkrute tasmat yogaya yujyasva yoga karma sukaushalam. We all want good things to happen in our life. When good things are happening in your life, what are good things? When things which you like to happen, when your desires are getting fulfilled, you call yourself lucky. What is luck? Luck is the meeting point of the happening in your life and the desire. What you want and what happens, if they align, you call that as luck. Luck is nothing but consumption of your good karmas. When you feel lucky, know that you are burning away or exhausting your merits. Freedom is beyond good and bad karma. Freedom is beyond papa and punya, behind merit and sin, beyond merit and sin. And liberation is that state where you are actually free from all impressions, whether good or bad. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukruta dushkrute. Sukruta is punya, dushkruta is papa, merit and sin. Buddhi yukto. When you can see both of them with equanimity and have the desire not to not sin but to accumulate. I mean, you are able to treat merit and demerit in the same way and you want to rise above both, then you become free. Jahatiha, in this life itself. Tasmat yogaya yujyasva yoga karma sukaushalam. How do you do? Skillfully dealing with the world while reposing in the self. That is yoga. And when you continue your life like this, keeping a focus on the self but not disengaging from the world, fully engaging with the world skillfully, but always being focused on the self in the realm of knowledge, buddhi yuktaha, then jahatiha, in this lifetime itself, now only you'll be free from both good and bad impressions. Buddhi yukta, the intellect that is established in the self, the viveka in which the intellect viveka is awakened, that knows that even good impressions are a burden. You need to let go of them too. कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ता पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम्. Karmajam buddhiyukta hi. When you engage in action, being established in knowledge, phalam tyaktva, having dropped your attachment to the result of the action, janma bandha vinirmuktaha, Padam Gacchanti Anamayam. Anamayam, beautiful word. Anamayam is a state free from suffering. You will be, two things will happen. One, you will attain a state free from suffering, and you will be free from the bondage of the life and death. Because of the impressions, you have to come back again and again. When you are able to cleanse your impressions through meditation, through knowledge, then you don't have to come. So, being established in knowledge, being meditative, will free you from the cycle of birth and death, and it will also take you to a state free from suffering. Padam Gacchanti Anamayam. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Moha kalilam, the delusion of Maya. When your intellect rises above the delusion of the Maya, rises above the delusion that the mind has created in you, when you are able to keep your mind aside and look at the existence, when you are not deluded by the prism of the mind, tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha, then you are not distracted by what you have heard or what you are going to hear. All our distraction, where do our desires come from? From our senses. Oh, you heard that, oh, that is going to get, I go on the spiritual path, I will become free, I will become more stress free, this will happen, that will happen. The scriptures are promising this, the Karma Kanda promises this, that, this. Oh, I need to get all those. You are distracted by, I want this, I want this. But one who is risen above the delusion of Maya, by being established in knowledge, he is not distracted by the wants, by what you are going to get from the path. He is on the path just because it's a pleasure being there. Being with the self itself is an achievement. You don't need to be with the self so that you achieve something else. Otherwise, you are stuck. Oh, your planets are not in the right place now. You have to do this. Your house is facing a different direction. You have to change this. You have to change the bed, change the door, do this, do that, go to that temple, do this puja. You have heard so many things and keep on engaging in more and more actions. When you say it's okay, whether pleasant or unpleasant, what I'm going through is okay. I only get what I deserve. And the best way to rise above this is through akarma. When I meditate, when I'm in that state of nirvikalpa samadhi, all these impressions, they burn away themselves effortlessly. So I'm not going to engage more in the world trying to get rid of these impressions. That is an intellect which is risen above the delusion of moha. Shruti vipratipanna yada stasyati nischala samadhau achala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. When Shruti also means the Vedas. Shruti vipratipanna, when you are not deluded by the promises made by the scriptures that you will get this, get that, do this, do that. Yada stasyati nischala, and the mind is steady and unshaken and undistracted. Samadhyo achala buddhi tada yogam avapsyasi. Then, in this state of steadiness, you attain samadhi, you attain equanimity. It's such an important shloka. If you want a deeper experience of samadhi, this is the criteria. You should develop this ability, the viveka in you, not to be distracted. Look, we are sitting in meditation, slowly you're settling down. Suddenly, you hear the ting from your phone. Suddenly, you are outside. Your mind is finding a reason to jump into the outer world, and you keep on encouraging it. Why, when you come to the Kriya or any practices, we say, switch off your mobile, keep them aside, is because it will not allow you to settle down. Nischala, you won't become Nischala, you will be Chala Chala, Chanchala. Here Krishna says, Yada stasyate Nischala, that mind which is steady, which is not distracted, only that can experience descend into Samadhi. And being in Samadhi again and again, you attain equanimity, harmony. That harmony is yoga. And you will see that as you become more and more meditative, as you develop this immense taste for meditation, as you start having these glimpses of samadhi more often when you sit for meditation, your interest in the ritual drops off automatically. Desires to go to this temple, that temple, do this puja, that puja, they will all subside. It's not that they are not important, but you have found something more important. And you find in this bigger ideal, in the bigger realm of meditation, all the smaller gains will come automatically. So if you are in that phase where, if you are very religious, you are very interested in going here, going there all the time, and now you don't feel that very interested, that is absolutely okay. You are doing okay. Sthita pragnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthita dih kim prabhasheta kim masita vrajeta kim. Now Arjuna is very excited about what Krishna has said. Wow, this sounds amazing state of existence. And one who is established in awareness, Sthita Pragna, how does he appear to you? How do you recognize this gentleman or lady? How does he stand? How does he walk? How does he talk? How will his intellect be? Then Krishna says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmanatushta sthita pragnasta dochyate. Who is a Sthita Pragna? Partha manogatan sarvan kaman yada prajahati. One who is able to discard all desires that arise in the mind as mere thoughts. Atmanyev atmana tushtaha. One who is rejoicing in the company of his own self, and these distractions of the world don't touch him at all. He is a Sthita Prajna. Dukkeshu anudvigna manasukeshu vigataspruhaha vitaragabhaya krodha sthitadirmuniruchyate. Dukkeshu anudvigna. When unpleasant things happen in life, pleasantness comes, unpleasantness comes, health comes, sickness comes, there is success, there is failure, there is loss, there is gain. When all the things which you don't like happens, when failure happens, when sadness happens, when separation happens, when death happens, na anudvigna, you don't get blown away. Manas sukeshu vigata spraha. And when the joy comes, you don't get overwhelmed. You're not overwhelmed by misery and you're not super excited by the pleasantness of life. Dukkeshu anudvigna manas sukeshu vigata spraha. You don't start craving for the pleasant, and you don't start resisting or being overwhelmed or blown away by the unpleasant. Vita raga bhaya krodha. When you experience this state which is free from attachment, fear, and anger, that is a state of a Sthita Prajna or a Muni. Attachment, fear, and anger are the ones which take you off your center. Look, anything you're attached to, something happens to that, you are shaken. We all know this story of this parrot or a bird which lies in a cage beyond 7 seas. The king's life is in that parrot. You do anything to the king, nothing happens. So You look around, you are able to tolerate unpleasantness, but something you're attached to, something happens, see how you shake. It could be material or immaterial, it could be people or possessions. Somebody's life is in their bank account, somebody's life is in their children, somebody's life is in something else, in position. And this attachment to these external things will keep you unsettled. And one who is not overwhelmed by anything happening to these external things, he is a Sthitha Pragya. When you are steady, then there is no attachment, there is no fear also. With attachment comes fear and anger when you don't get what you want. So, one who is not shaken by misery, are not afflicted by craving, and is free from attachment, fear, and anger, he is the Sthita Prajna. Yes sarvatra na visneha tat tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. Na sarvatra na visneha tat tat prapya shubhashubham. One who is friendly to everybody and one who is cool in all types of situations, shubha, shubha. Auspicious and inauspiciousness happens in the midst of both of them. One who is steady, one who is centered, one who is not shaken, and one who is friendly with everybody. Na bhinandati na dveshti. One who is not swayed by the nice and the not so nice things. Na abhinandati na dveshti. Doesn't hate anything, nor is highly excited or elated by something. He is a man of established intellect. Somebody asked Gurudev, Art of Living is now the biggest organization, non-governmental organization in the world. It has reached so many countries. Tell us one thing about Art of Living that you are so proud of. Gurudev just laughed and said, what is there to be proud of? It is all anyway a dream. That is a Sthita Prajna. That is the power of dispassion. Dispassion brings you this state of steadiness. You neither are craving for anything, nor you are hating or averse to anything. Na abhinandati na dveshti. Tasya prajna pratishtita. He is a Sthita Prajna. Yada samharate chayam kurmangi va sarvashaha indriyan indriyartebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. Just like the tortoise will withdraw its limbs into its shell when it senses danger, similarly, a man of established intellect knows when to withdraw from the world. He is engaging with the world when needed, but when he realizes the dangers lurking around, he withdraws into his own self. He is not reactive, he is responsive. He always comes back to the self and acts from the self. An action of reaction of a reactive mind generates impressions. An action born of awareness out of akarma is above impressions. So just like a tortoise can withdraw, he is able to restrain himself from the world. He is able to withdraw himself from the sense objects and then able to be steady and secure and safe within the shell of the self. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. You are fasting, and after a few hours of fasting, you will see that the activity of the mind comes down. You feel more steady, calm, relaxed. When you sit for meditation in that state, you very quickly settle down, sink deeper. But don't think that you have achieved, you have become enlightened. Just when you break the fast and have something to eat, within half an hour you see all those craving aversions come up. When there is no food entering the body, the energy in the body has to be rationed. So The prana will be rationed to the most vital organs. And the mind is not considered very vital, so the mind is kept aside. Your awareness is high, but the mind's activity is low. Once you eat the food, once the rajas comes back to you from the food again, from the environment, suddenly all the patterns come back. He is not a Sthita Pragna. Look how we are in a silence program. The first day silence program, we are a bit restless. Second day we are settled. Third day we are more settled. We feel, wow, we have reached, we're getting deeper meditations. We're not talking much. We're eating very samyak, very properly. And then see the silence course ends and you come out and there you are. Oh, I have not eaten dosa for 2 days. I want this. I have not drank my cup of coffee. When all those start going in, what comes out is all the same craving and aversions and unsteadiness, attachment, fear, greed, lust, anger. He is not a Sthita Prajna. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabhmanam. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha. Even those who have been on the path for a while, who have disciplined their mind to a certain extent, even for them, it is not so easy to have a say over their senses all the time. Just like when a storm comes, it will make the boat go this way or that way, it will shake the boat so violently. The senses have this power to take you off your center. Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham mana. They just take you out of your center and shake you very vigorously. If this can happen to somebody who is settled, who has been on the path for a while, who is doing regularly sadhana, what about somebody who is not on the path at all? So he's saying, be alert, be aware. Senses can lure even those who are endowed with viveka, with discrimination, and blow you away like a turbulent storm blows away the boat. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta sita matpara vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. Tani sarvani samyamya. One who has complete say over the senses, over the distractions of the world. Yukta sita matpara. One who is able to focus on me, which is one who is able to stay established in the self. Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. One whose senses listen to him. One is being able to repose in his self continuously. Yukta, that's what. Yukta is an expert or one who is skilled. One who is got the ability to keep his focus on me all the time. He is the one. He is Sthita Prajna. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangaste Shopajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamah Kamat Krodho Bijayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammoha Smriti Vibhramaha Smriti Bramshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyati. Now he says how we fall from grace. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa. A thought of pleasure induces a craving in you. You're okay, you're settled. Suddenly, you smell something from the kitchen. And then you feel, oh, I have to eat. Oh, this is being cooked. Suddenly, a thought of lust comes in. And then see how it gains momentum. You see something beautiful, how the desire to possess it starts getting momentum. Just a thought. And when you give a little bit of attention to that thought, it induces a desire. Thought of pleasure creates attachment to that thought, to that pleasure. And that attachment generates a desire in you. Sangat sanjayate kama. When your attention goes to the pleasure, that generates a desire. Kamat krodho bijayate. When the desire comes, you want it. I want it. And that is how the craving appears. When there is craving, you don't want it tomorrow or next month. You want it now. I want it now. And when you don't get it now, then that generates anger. See how when children throw tantrums, you can see it's a typical example. They want something and they want it now. When they don't get it, they become angry. This is not just wanting material things from the world, it is wanting attention, wanting respect. You want somebody to listen to you. See how angry you become when your child does not listen to you or somebody disagrees with you. Kamat krodha abhijayate. The root cause of anger is desire. Unfulfilled desire brings anger. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. And anger clouds your intent. Sammoha is delusion. It clouds your judgmental ability. Anger leads to delusion, isn't it? When you are angry, you want something to happen this way only. All other things are closed for you. You are not able to see clearly. This is delusion. And the delusion clouds the intellect. Sammoha smruti vibramaha. Smruti vibramaha means you just lose perspective. Smruti bramshat buddhi nashaha. And when the intellect is clouded, when you have lost perspective, your intellect is destroyed. Your judgment is destroyed. A clouded intellect destroys your ability to judge, destroys your judgment. And once the judging ability is destroyed, once your judgment is destroyed, once that is lost, everything is lost. Buddhi nashat pranashyati. A person whose intellect is destroyed, he is destroyed himself. He is completely destroyed. So beautiful. See the dynamics, mechanics of how somebody falls from grace. We'll go through this again. You are settled. Then a thought comes about something. And that thought, when you pay attention to it, it creates an attachment to that pleasure. And attachment to that pleasure generates a desire. And the desire unfulfilled brings anger. When you are angry, you are deluded. And delusion takes away the perspective and destroys your judgment. And intellect, in which the judgment is impaired, is imperfect, that will destroy the individual. All the fanaticism which you see, all the useless debates you see, where do you see any meaning in that? The people whose intellect is destroyed. Once that is destroyed, when the viveka is not there, then you keep on focusing on the unimportant, keep on being troubled by it. रागद्वेष वियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियाश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा prasadam adhigacchati. Even when you are in the company of the senses, even when you are engaging in the world, if you are able to have a say over your senses, if you are not being a slave of your mind, if you are able to have a say over your mind and your senses, from there what you attain samadhi, you attain grace. When you are free from, when you can stay free from craving and aversion, grace pours into your life. Prasadam adhigacchati. Grace enters your life. Even when we are with the senses, if you can have a say over them and not be swayed away by them, and you can remain free from craving and aversions, you experience divine grace. What is the divine grace? It is nothing but the company of your own self. And in that state of grace, all luck is yours, all joy is yours, all prosperity is yours, all happiness is yours. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhih paryaya tishtati. When grace enters your life, what happens? Hanir asyopajayate sarva dukkhanam. All the so-called sufferings vanish like the mist vanishes when the sun rises. Grace will make the miseries of life evaporate. Prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryaya tishtati. His intellect stays established in the self beyond the material realm, and he maintains a pleasant countenance. He is blissful and pleasant with the intellect established in the self. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya nacha ayuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayatah shante ashantasya kutas sukham. Now he says the opposite of it. What if your intellect is not established? What if you're not got a steady intellect? An intellect established in knowledge, an intellect in which viveka is not arisen. Ayukta, such a person is called ayukta, a person with an undisciplined mind, unstable intellect, non-committal, one who has no say over the senses, one who has got poor judgment, one who is swayed by the feelings. What happens to that person? Such person does not experience any peace. Na cha bhavatah shantir ashantasya kutas sukham. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya na cha ayuktasya bhavana. When the intellect is not steady, when the feelings are not steady, na cha abhavayatah shantihi. He will be devoid of peace. Such a person is devoid of peace. And when there is no peace, where there is joy? No peace, no joy. So he says, your senses take away your peace, and to gain back your peace, you need to stabilize your intellect in the self. Until then, there is no peace, and when there is no peace, there is no joy. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmanonu vidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavam ivambasi. Just one craving from one senses is good enough. The senses are so strong, so potent, because your mind is so strongly conditioned to get joy from the senses, from the outside world, that even a craving for only one of the sensory pleasures is sufficient enough to rock your boat. Navam iva ambasi tadam harati. Tadasya harati pragnam vayur navam ivambasi. Just like the storm can shake the boat, in the same way, just like a storm can displace the boat, in the same way, a craving for a pleasure can displace you from your center. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashah indriyani indriyartebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita. And the one who is having a complete say over the senses, and his intellect is established not in the outer world, in the sensory world, not in the world of sensory experience, but in the self, he is a Sthitha Pragna. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munihi. Where the worldly person, the unintelligent sees the joy, there the yogi sees only darkness. Where the worldly person sees light, there the yogi sees only tamas. And where the worldly person sees uselessness, meaninglessness, purposelessness, there the yogi sees the ultimate purpose. Look at all those people who are not on the path at all. They mock at people on the path. Oh, what is wrong with this person? This is the time to enjoy, man. Life is there to enjoy. Not realizing that he is actually destroying his own life, and somebody who is really enjoying, he is mocking at him. So, for an undisciplined or a person with an immature intellect, what is actually draining you, that becomes a source of joy. What is actually making you old and aged and weary and tired, that becomes the source of joy. That is where you want to go again and again. But for a yogi, that which uplifts him, that which enhances his prana, that is where world is. That is where knowledge is. So he moves in the direction of knowledge, sadhana, silence. That which appears dark to the worldly person, that is where the yogi sees light. And that where the worldly person sees only joy, there he sees only pain and suffering and delusion. अपूर्यमानम् अचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रम् आपः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. Krishna says, in spite of rivers entering into the ocean incessantly, the ocean does not get overwhelmed. Similarly, the one with a steady intellect, the Sthitha Pragna, will not be lured by the temptations of the world. Look, there are so many distractions. Open your eyes, open your ears, see so much distractions. From all the senses are being bombarded constantly in this day and age of immense availability of luxury, social media, accessibility to psychedelic substances. Everything is available. So the mind is constantly bombarded by it. But like an ocean, which does not go overwhelmed by the rivers constantly pouring into it, walking in the world, being in the middle of the senses, a man with an established intellect, a Sthita Pragna, is not overwhelmed by the senses. And only he can attain peace when he is not shaken by the senses. Na kama kami, not the one who is running behind desires. Vihaya kamanyas sarvan pumansharati nispruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantim adigacchati. Vihaya kamanyas sarvan, one who is able to drop all desires, one who is able to see desires as mere thoughts and is able to smile and drop them. Charati nispruhaha, one who is able to walk free from cravings. Nirmamo nirahankaraha, without a sense of me and mine. He is the one who can attain peace. All the source of pain in our life is what we consider me and mine, isn't it? Look into it. All that you hold tightly in life, saying that me, this is mine, this is me, this is mine, the people and possessions, they are the biggest source of pain in your life. When the idea of me and mine drops out of you, this happens to you when you go to deep sleep. This happens to you in deep meditation. That me and mine drops off you, and when that drops off, bliss arises in you automatically on its own. Peace is already there. Sa shanti madhigacchati. Dropping desires, walking free from craving and attachments, free from ego and the sense of me and minus, such a person of established awareness attains peace. Yesha brahmi sthitih partha nainam prapya vimuhyati sthitvasyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam richyati. So he makes a concluding statement. One who has realized Brahman, one who has experienced the depth of meditation and has developed a taste for the self, for meditation, nainam prapya vimuhyati. Even if you give him anything, he will not be distracted. Nothing in the material world can lure him out of his commitment to the spirit. I have seen so many people on the path of progressing so well. Small events happen in the outer world. They are shaken. They are scattered. They drop the path. They start doubting the path. They start doubting themselves. They give up meditation for small little things. Oh, today I've got this puja, so I can't come for Kriya. Oh, today there are some people coming to my home, so sorry, I can't come for Kriya today. I can't. Oh, I can't come for silence course. You know what? I've not got holidays. You don't think twice to take a week off to go for a holiday spot, which you will forget in a couple of days. And you keep going to the same place taking holidays. So there, but to get into silence, you say, no, 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 I don't have leave. Unfortunately, I can't get leave. But this is not true of a person who is focused on himself. He'll say, okay, when is the next silence program? When can I get into silence again? When can I get into the deep meditation? When am I able to formally tell my family that, for 2, 3 days, I can't be disturbed. I want to be here. He is the one who is established. Sthitvasyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam richati. Even at the time of death, even when death is facing you, at the time where most people panic and are anxious and are sad, even at that time, he is able to be peaceful and joyful. And isn't this the ultimate achievement? The ultimate threat to our life is death. What we are all afraid of losing is this very body. And when that time comes, if you are able to be equanimous and peaceful, what more do you want in life? Brahma nirvanam richati. He attains to that state of ultimate freedom in the company of the self. Beautiful. We just went a bit quickly today because these are all shlokas which we have discussed many times before. And Krishna is just emphasizing and overemphasizing on the need to withdraw from the world and to be established in the company of the self. And the more you do it, the more closer you are to what you want in life. The more you are away, then your desires remain unfulfilled, you remain discontented. You remain in the realm of desire, then you are in the realm of anger, greed, fear. And when these are reigning your life, there is no contentment, there is no peace, there is no joy. And freedom is much higher than all this. Brahma Nirvanam is the ultimate attainment that only comes through Samadhi. And your experience of Samadhi comes on how easily you are able to drop the world. Sthitha Pragnasya Ka Bhasha. How does an enlightened person be? Who is a person with established intellect? One who is able to be free from craving and aversion with full say over the senses. And one who rejoices Atmanyeva Tushtaha, for whom self is good enough for all the joy he wants. When somebody asked Gurudev, you are surrounded by such beautiful people, so much luxury, you visit so many places, do you not get tempted? All my pleasures I get from existence itself. I don't have to go outside to get them. That is a Sthita Pragya. That is a person of established awareness. That is enlightenment. Okay? Jai Gurudev. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Sarve Santu Niramayah. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kachid Dukkhabhat Bhave. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari